Hello, my lovely Year Sevens. I hope that you're all doing well and that you had a lovely Christmas and New Year. It's such a shame that we can't be at school together, but it's really important that you guys keep up with all of your English work to make sure we keep making such amazing progress together. Okay, so before we get into today's lesson, could you please make sure you have your pencil case and your exercise book? If you don't have your exercise book, because I'm not sure if I've kept them at school, make sure that you have a piece of lined paper or a page open on your device, whether that's a laptop or an iPad. You just need somewhere to write for your lessons. Pause the video now and make sure you have those things ready. Okay, so wherever you're writing, could you please now write our title, which is Nancy's death, which is a huge spoiler. Could you write our date, which is the 6th of the 1st, 2020? And then could you also write your learning objective, which is I will read chapter 23 so I can analyse Nancy's death. Pause the video and do those things now. Okay, so if you're watching the video, this means that you've got your title, date, and LO written down. Now it's time to complete our do now. So, using the instructions in the yellow box, you're going to answer the questions in full sentences. Here are the 5 questions. How does Nancy try and save Oliver in chapter 20? Why does Nancy refuse to go to the police with Mr. Brownlow? Who is Oliver living with? Why is Rose a kind person? And what are the criminals planning to do to Oliver? So wherever you're writing, you're going to pause the video and answer these questions in full sentences. Do that now for me, please. So if you are watching this video now, that means that you have completed the do now, which means it's time to correct. So you're going to use your purple pen to tick your answer if you got it right, or cross your answer if you got it wrong. It doesn't matter if you got it wrong, but what we do need to make sure is that you write the correct answer if you did get it wrong. So here are the correct answers. Nancy tries to save Oliver by warning Mr. Brownlow. Nancy refuses to go to the police as she wants to be loyal to Bill. Oliver is living with the Maylies. Rose is a kind person because she accepts Oliver and wants to look after him. The criminals are planning to kidnap Oliver again. Okay, pause the video, make sure you've got them corrected and ticked and crossed. Okay, you should now have all of those corrected. And in today's lesson, we're going to read chapter 23, but we're going to skip chapter 22 because it's only short and it's not too important. But it's really important that we do understand what's happened so we don't miss any of the jump from chapter 21 to chapter 23. So in chapter 22, all you need to know is that the Artful Dodger is arrested for stealing. Monks tells Bill and Fagin that Nancy is a traitor as she has gone to see Mr. Brownlow. Bill doesn't know what to believe and storms off. Bill's a bit confused. He doesn't think that Nancy would betray him like that. So it seems that he storms off to go and investigate. That takes us into chapter 23, where Bill murders Nancy in his rage. Then Bill panics because he knows that he has been seen committing a murder and that he is in great danger. So therefore he tries to escape. We're going to see how that goes now. So we're going to read chapter 23 together. You don't have a copy of the book, but that's fine because it's going to be on the screen for you. All you need to do is listen and follow along. As we are reading, I need you to think about, how does Dickens show Bill Sikes? What kind of character is he? What kind of adjectives could we use to describe Bill Sikes in this chapter? Okay, let's get started. Chapter 23, Nancy's death. Bill wandered through the streets. People stepped aside as he passed. No one wanted to get in his way. No one wanted Bill's attention. His face was red with rage. His fists were clenched at his sides. He asked if anyone had seen Nancy, and everyone said no. Have a quick think. Why do you think his fists were clenched? Maybe you're thinking that Bill is so angry that he's about to fight someone. That's interesting because we're going to see what happens next. After an hour or so, Bill found her sitting on a doorstep. She stood up as soon as she saw him. Nancy started to back away. She saw the look in his eyes and she was afraid. "Bill, please," she said. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Bill said nothing as he walked toward her. She backed her way around a corner as Bill followed her. A few moments later, a terrible scream was heard. People standing in the street ran towards the sound. They turned the corner to see Bill Sikes running away from Nancy's lifeless body. If her body is lifeless, what does that mean Bill has done to her? Have a think about that. And you should have figured out that while in that alleyway, Bill had murdered Nancy. We're not sure how, but we know that she is now dead. He called to Bullseye over his shoulder. "Come on," he snapped. "Bullseye, come here." The dog stood still. He stayed beside Nancy's body rather than following his master. He turned away from Bill and sat down. "Stop! Murderer!" a man called. A few people ran after Bill. "Stop!" the man called again. "Someone get the police!" While some of the group stayed with Nancy's body, the rest ran after Bill. Bill was panicked. He ran wildly through the streets. Every door he tried was locked. Every street and laneway was filled with people. A laneway is just kind of a different way to talk about an alley or a smaller street. Everyone was calling him murderer. He heard his name echo through the streets and alleyways. Bill knew he had to hide. He needed money to get out of the city. He had to leave right away. He ran back to Fagin's with the crowd close behind. All of Fagin's boys were back in the room, preparing for bed. Bill ran in and grabbed Fagin by the collar. "I need money," Bill said. "Give me money so I can get away." Fagin spoke calmly. "Bill," he said, "you've got blood on your coat." He stepped slowly away from Bill. "What have you done?" "I've saved us," Bill hissed. "She turned against us. I couldn't let her get away with it." "No, Bill, no," Fagin shook his head. "This is not the way." "Where's Nancy?" Charlie called. He jumped from his bed and faced Bill. "What have you done with Nancy?" Bill turned on the boy. "Don't cross me, Charlie," he said. "I'm in a mood tonight." They could hear the crowd approaching. Everyone in the room stopped to listen. "You're a monster!" Charlie yelled at Bill. "A monster!" Bill took a step toward the boy. "Stay away from me," Charlie said. "All of you." He looked at everyone in the room. "I want nothing to do with any of you." Charlie ran out of the building and joined the crowd out front. "He's upstairs," Charlie told the policeman. "I can show you the way." Bill knew his time was up. He grabbed some tools from the room, a few things he could sell, and a rope. He ran back into the stairwell and up to the roof. He looked down at the crowd below. Its numbers had grown considerably. There was no way off the building except to jump to the next roof. He tied his bag of tools over his shoulder. Starting at one end of the roof, he ran toward the other and jumped across toward the next building. Have a quick think. What's going to happen on the next page? Okay, maybe you have a prediction in your head now. Let's see what happens. Unfortunately, it was too far. He managed to grab a hold of the other side, but his fingers slipped. Bill Sikes fell to his death as the crowd below screamed. Meanwhile, Charlie led the police into the building. They caught Fagin on the stairs. He tried to avoid their grasp, but they took hold and dragged him outside. Charlie stayed right with them. "I'll tell you anything you need," he said to the police. "I've had enough of all these people." Okay, before we move on, guys, just have a quick think about that question on the left. How does Dickens show Bill Sikes? What adjectives could you use to describe him? No need to write anything down, just have a little think. And pause the video if you need to. Okay, so now what I would like you to do is, wherever you're writing, to copy this subtitle, "Quotes for Bill Sikes," and make sure you underline it. You don't need to underline it in purple pen. but just a normal black or blue pen or whatever you're writing in would be great. Pause the video if you need a second to do that. Okay, now underneath that subtitle, you're going to write a list of 5 quotes that are about Bill Sikes in this chapter. To do that, you're obviously going to need to rewind the video, so take as long as you need to get those 5 quotes about Bill Sikes down. I've done the first one for you, as you can see here. His face was red with rage. Remember, if they are quotes, they are parts of the text, sentences from the text. So we need to make sure we use these marks here, these quotation marks, to show that we have used this sentence from the book. Okay, you can pause the video and do that now. Make sure you come back to this video once you have finished. Okay guys, so this means that you should have a list of 5 quotes for Bill Sikes if you're watching the video. What I need you to do now for me is send me an email in the way that your form tutors or another teacher has told you to do. And in that email, I need a picture of your work from today's lesson. Okay, I'll just repeat myself. You need to email me a picture of your work from today's lesson. I will put my email in the description on Show My Homework. Okay, excellent work today, guys. I look forward to seeing all of your lovely quotes, and I will speak to you soon. Good work, well done.